What is good? Hi everyone, this is AKMS Photography. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Abdul Karim Manzi, but I'm also known as AKMS Photography. Some of you already know that. I know it's been a minute. Hope you guys can forgive me for that. It's just so many things happening at once, and I just took this year to just stay back and actually focus on photography and just be a student and just learn and I guess meet different people and see what I can do with it. Now, for this episode, I really just wanted to catch up on a few things about what I want to do with this channel, such as different tutorials, not too much tutorials, just here and then. I guess a little bit of interviews with like different creatives, like not basically interviews, like little talks. Have them tell you about their experiences. Different creatives. It could be a violin player. It could be a singer. It could be a rapper. It could be a videographer. Graphic designer. All of everything, and just showcase their work also on this channel as well. So what I wanted to talk about in this episode is what got me into photography and what that journey has been for me. Hopefully, I stay on track because I'm one of those people that divert stories. Like, one story turns into like 30, 40 different stories. Anyways, so this was back in 2015 initially. 2015, yes, late 2015. It was just, I think it was we were in school, and my friend Derek Erasmus, I'll put his Instagram handle in like the description below. And he was just around school. He used to come with his camera every day. In our school, you have to know this. For Tanzania, for most people that will watch this and are not from Tanzania, we in secondary school, you're not allowed to bring electronics, right? And this dude used to come with his camera like on mostly every day, most occasions, and like he would take pictures, and the teachers were like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yo, bro, what?" And I was like, "Okay, okay." So man was doing this thing. He was taking photos of different, like he was documenting us, like we didn't know what that would be at first until like we saw the pictures and videos later, and like you shed the tears and like these memories, but like we didn't know what that was. He was capturing all these moments, the still images, and like like they were crazy. And I know he started before then, but that was like initially like a starting point for him, I feel personally. And he was just going around connecting with everyone, just taking photos. And I was like, yo, that's really cool, right? So I started doing it. Initially, I didn't know I used to do the same thing with my phone. Like, I used to document everything wherever I went. Like, I have photos from like way back when, like when the first time I ever got a camera phone, and like I have them saved on my Google Drive, and everywhere. I don't like deleting anything, even if it's a bad picture. So I was like, yeah, maybe I should look. What is this photography thing, right? So I started taking pictures with my phone. I was like, yo, Derek was always the person who would give you the pep talk. Yeah, keep doing it, keep doing it. You can do this. So I was like, I was starting to catch on. I was like, hey, maybe I can do this, right? So I remember in 2016, around February, I asked my dad if he could, you know, hopefully lend me some cash, or just buy me a camera as a gift. I was like, yo, buy me a gift for my 16th. Was it my 16th birthday or 17th? For my 17th birthday. And he was like, oh, okay, you're probably just gonna play with it for 2 days, and you're not gonna use it anymore. It's like, I don't want to waste money on that, because you're gonna take it for 2 days. You're gonna take pictures 2 days, 3 days, and you're gonna be like, I'm bored. And I was like, no, trust. I was like, okay, he'll think about it. So I remember that March, me and my mom went to a trip to the U.S. to visit some family and everything. And it was around April, I think, we were coming back. It was 2 days before we came back. No, a day, yeah, 2 days before we came back. My mom wakes me up in the morning. He says, your dad just sent money so you can buy a camera. And I was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So I remember the next day, because this was literally the day before we came back home to Tanzania, we were like looking for a camera. I was like, yo, this is the camera I wanted at like at Best Buy and everything. And then we go to the first Best Buy. Sorry, we're out of stock. I was like, oh my god, I'm leaving tomorrow. And like we had to go back home and pack and everything, finish up. I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna get this camera. He's like, oh, and then he was like, but we have the same camera at a different store location. You guys want us to hold it for you? It's like it's the last one in inventory. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So we dash over there before like 15 minutes before the store closes, and we get that camera, and I was like, oh, we got the camera. And so that's where my story began. I came back home initially not knowing how to use the camera. So I would like anybody else, I went on YouTube, that was like my teacher. I went on YouTube, learned everything from shutter priorities to manual exposures, And then I remember the photographers on YouTube saying, the professional photographers never uses automatic on a camera. So that literally stick with me. I can honestly say ever since I got my first camera, I've only used automatic like twice, and that was it. That was initially the first month because I didn't know how to use it, so I was using automatic all the time. But after the first month, it was manual from there on out. If I didn't get it right, I'll just change the settings again, recompose, take the shot. Like I had to, like by any means, I had to learn it. So when I got my DSLR, I was just shooting random pictures of flowers, of streets, or different things. And then I remember that year we had there was this Insta meet in downtown where I met different people. I just met different people that day. Derek invited me to it, and just walked in downtown, and I just met a lot of people that day. It was crazy. And I remember we also had like different events that summer, such as like the Lit event and the Moyo event. So I was like taking pictures, and I was like, yo, this is really cool. I like the way people are connecting with this, and the way I feel when I take pictures. It's like I did this, So I remember doing photos, and someone was like, yeah, this is fun, And I was doing it. I was also doing portraits because like I realized portraiture was my thing. Like I really love portraits, but I also wanted to learn more, explore. Because I remember short story, way before I started photography, Derek used to take us to like he used to take his camera, me, him, and Eddie, and we used to in the middle of the street, and we used to set up the camera, and we would do long exposures. I remember that night I burnt myself, but the pictures were dope. But we did long exposures, lighting up the steel wire for cooking dishes. Would light that up with a lighter, and just spin it around. Anyways, long story short, I really got interested in photography. Then I came to Canada, and shooting in Canada is way easier because Tanzania just has its issues I don't want to talk about. But so I started shooting in Canada, portraits here and there. And I remember a brother of my friend saying, yeah, but this is just average photography, I was like, that was the first ever real criticism I ever got. And I was like, you know what, it took me back, and I actually think I didn't even want to be defensive about it. I went back and thought, I was like, he's right. So I was like, I took a step back and thought, what could I change about my photography, what could I do? So I just started just exploring different things, just learning on YouTube, seeing what these different techniques are. And I remember coming back home again to Tanzania that summer, but I did not do much of photography that summer. I was just taking a chill pill, right? And after taking a chill pill, I came back here to Canada because I literally was in Canada for 3 months. I was like, oh my god, homesickness, I need to go home. So I went back home, and when I came back to Canada again initially, I was like, you know what, I'm going to focus on engineering. Maybe photography is not for me. And I remember school went on a 5-week strike that semester, the fall of 2017. Anyways, 5-week strike. In that period, I found Peter McKinnon, right? I know most people know who Peter McKinnon is, but if you don't, I'm also going to put his link in the description. And when I found Peter McKinnon, I watched his first video, and then I was hooked. His first video that I watched was 5 camera tricks in 90 seconds, I think, or if I recall correctly. And I was like, yo, that's sick. So I like the way he was storytelling and creating such, simple photos, but they made you feel some type of way. And I was like, I want to do that too, And then I was like, and then I watched the second video, and then I got hooked. I started binge watching Peter McKinnon. I was like, oh. I finished all his videos. Like, oh my god, when is his next video? And then he started doing, I think, the weekly thing, and then he had 2-minute Tuesdays. And I was like, yes. So I used to just watch Pin Mechanic, and then I learned of Madhab Puja. I was like, yo, Maddie. I was like, oh my god. So I used to like dig into this YouTubers, YouTuber channels, just watching their vlogs and how they create. But then I was like, oh snap, I'm just watching videos. I'm not really doing anything with it, right? So it was, when was it? Yeah, around November when the strike ended. I remember we had to get back to school and everything. But coming back to my program, I was like, I don't want to do engineering. I don't think I want to do it. It's like, I think I want to do photography. Right? Because I was so hooked. Like, I started neglecting a lot of my studies and started working mostly on the photography thing. But also because, like, after the 5-week strikes, school just felt weird. Long story short, I started doing events for my friend. It would connect between events, and sometimes I get paid. I was like, yo, this is nice. This is getting paid for the work you do. But then I remember the terms that if you do photography for the money, you're gonna lose your actual creativity. It's just gonna be about money. And I was like, let me actually just take a step back and learn it. But like, I didn't quite learn that much at that time, because I stopped looking at YouTube videos and I was trying to actually implement what I already learned before I started going back into watching more videos. And something bad happened to me that December of 2017. It was the December 17th, 2017, and my friend actually invited me to come as a second shooter for album artwork of an artist. So we got there, and as we got there, we actually got mugged at gunpoint. Funny story. Anyways, we got mugged at gunpoint. I threw my bag. My bag had my camera and everything. I was like, oh my god, it's slowing me down. So I had to throw it out, and I ran. Initially I got everything back, but that was like a very scary moment for me in my life, because like, yo, I almost got mugged. Like, we got set up for a shoot that wasn't an actual shoot. We got set up to get mugged. Gunpoint. I was like, wow, is this what can lead if I do photography? So I got scared of picking up the camera. I didn't pick up the camera for like about 14-15 days at that point, until like when school reopened, because we had that short winter break. School reopened, and I remember that day so vividly that I was in school. We were doing a lab. Engineering, you have these theory classes and lab classes. So I was doing the lab part of the class. I remember we were doing the lab, something like, I didn't have goggles to do the lab. It was like 20% of the final grade. It was like that final lab thing, you know, that final lab test. Like, I didn't have goggles, and if you don't have goggles, you can't get in. Literally, the teacher either won't let you in, or if he finds out you don't have them, he'll kick you out. So I was like, oh my god, I don't have goggles. I was doing the test for a period of time. Somebody lent me the goggles, but like, because like whenever somebody finishes, somebody new comes in the test, because we were remaining the class. The person who lent me their goggles came back into the class and was like, can I have my goggles back? I need to do the test. And I was like, okay. So I gave them to him, and the teacher was like, you don't have goggles? I was like, no. Okay, gotta get out. So I get out. I was broke that day. I was like, shit, should I go buy goggles for $40 right now that I can't afford? Or... So I just stood there thinking, contemplating for the next 2 minutes outside the classroom while everybody was finishing up their lab test. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna fail this semester. And I remember at that moment I looked up at my phone, and I was going through Snapchat, and I saw a story, a very heartbreaking story. It's a friend of my friend's, and he had passed away. And he was so young. I won't mention his name for respect and everything, but like, he passed away. And then it hit me, yo, in December 17th, that also could have been me. I could have been either shot at gunpoint and everything. And what would I have accomplished, you know? I would have been doing nothing that I loved, which at the time was engineering. I didn't really like it. I mean, I love electronics and everything, but I don't think I want to study about electronics, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, somebody died so young. I was like, that could be me. We're almost the same age. I was like, do I really want to do engineering? And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move to business. That's what I thought initially. I'm gonna move to business, and so I can learn business side while I learn photography on my own. That's initially was the thought. So I eventually didn't even finish the lab test. I just left. I was like, you know what? This is not for me. I tried transferring, but there was a lot of issues. Initially, I ended up getting into the program September of 2018. But there was a long period in between where there was just me doing photography, just going and getting snapshots, meeting different people. I remember there was a period I did so much photography work in such a short period of time that I woke up one morning and literally couldn't move my body. My back was messed up. Like every time I tried to move, it was like a stinging feeling all over my back. I couldn't even move my hands and legs. It was that bad. But like it was just photography, learning, spending long nights all the way to sunrise, editing, I just picked it up. And then at summer in Toronto, there's a lot of photo meets that happen, and then you get to walk around a lot and see different spots. Because that was initially my first summer in Toronto, so I just went around. I was like taking portraits here and there, going to the photo meets, setting up shoots with this different, models slash friends, mostly friends, and shoots and throw each other ideas, go to locations, shoot something up, and then it just my Instagram started building up, and I was like, yo, a lot of people started loving my photography, and I was like, yo, that's sick to connect. But initially, what I was afraid of is if my parents, family would be supportive, right? Because that's usually the biggest issue. And I remember it was my 19th birthday. Yeah, it was my 19th birthday. I remember my dad calling me and he was like, yo, I see your work is really good. A lot of people are talking about it. And I was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. He was like, for this year, for your birthday gift, I'm going to send you money so you can get a better camera. And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, so that you can get a better camera. And I was like, yo, that's really crazy. My dad is sending me cash to get a better camera because he believes in my work. And I was like, okay. I shed a tear that day, and I was like, I started believing in myself more. I was like, this is the path that I am going to take. This there's no other way. This is it. So I remember selling my first camera. Selling your first baby is so hard. So I sold my camera, and which was the D5500. Started everything, and then I got the D750 because I was looking up online. It was the second best camera at the time for portraits, and I was like, yo, this is so crazy, right? So I got the D750, and that's the one I was using for the summer. But like again, the D750 also had its minor setbacks, such as like focusing with the sun in the background, or focusing with the bright background. Sometimes had focusing issues. It literally hunt too much. So I was like, but like it was beautiful camera nevertheless. I'll definitely buy it again if I had the chance to. So yeah, in the summer of 2018, when my photographer is picking up after I got the new camera, the D750, meeting all these different people, going to these meets, I wanted to visit home. After everything I learned, I was like, I want to go home and see how I can apply everything I've learned. And then a lot of people wanted to work with me that summer, I remember. But like there was a lot of things going on back here that, like personal issues that I couldn't work out, that basically I couldn't come back that summer. So last summer was as a 5 month period, which was a very hard and crazy time for me, honestly. Only people who are here or know me personally know the stuff I went through was a very difficult time and learning process, I'd say. And I'm happy I went through it. But like, it was also a hard time. And I remember that summer, around May, a friend of mine named O'Brien, he hit me up for a project, and I said, no, I might be going to Tanzania this summer. And initially I didn't go. Like my ticket was already, everything was there, but it was just some issues that ended up coming up that I couldn't leave, And so I stayed that summer. I was in a very bad space mentally, but like I got out of the funk. I was like, you know what? Let me make the best of it. So I walked around and just, ended up with all these photo meets and meeting different people, the World Cup and everything, just chilling with friends. But then again, in July, the first 2 weeks just before the finals of the World Cup, we got really bad news that our friend Brian had passed away. And upon him passing away, that was two people in 1 year. The first one that made me decide to do what I wanted to do, and this one was a close friend of ours, our brother. He has very good music. I might see if I could put the link in the description as well, so you could check out his work. And he passed away, and I just couldn't stop recalling about us talking about what we're gonna do. There was recalling 2 years back in the summer of 2017 when I met him again, and like we were talking about how we're gonna be so big in this, like in our industries, and like how we're just gonna work and have names for ourselves, and how we're just gonna help each other out, how we're gonna build this community, just to bring all fellow creatives together, just bring each other up, and like that was his dream, and I was like, I remember calling back, especially after hearing that news. I was like, I made a promise to myself. One of the promises I made to myself, I was like, no matter how down I'm at, like emotionally or mentally, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do the work. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna push through everything. I'm just gonna learn and just, you know, just get there. Because now we are carrying the dreams of our fallen brothers and sisters. So that's what I took it as, and it's hit me hard ever since. But like I miss him to this day. He was the most cheerful person you could ever meet. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. After that summer, I just completely changed as a person after such a great loss, and you know. So initially that year, I also found out about Sony's, and I was looking at the Sony A7 III. Was becoming big news at the time, and I was looking at the features and how cheap it was. I was like, what? It didn't make sense, cause like there's so much features in a Sony camera for that price, which is like beyond crazy to me. So later that year, around November 2018, I sold my D750. I was like, I want to do YouTube videos too, right? Because I initially tried YouTube last year, but my camera for Nikon was really bad at focusing, right? And I can't keep going back and forth looking if the focusing is right. So I looked at the Sony A7 II. I got it, and I just started loving it for photos. It's also very crazy for photos, but like I still wasn't doing YouTube, because like now I was like building a sort of a clientele, getting clients for my work, which was crazy. God bless. But like, yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do YouTube when I'm ready. So I remember earlier that year, I did a shoot for a friend. He was working with an artist for something called the Remix Project, and he told me just apply, and I literally applied on a whim. And earlier this year, I got in. It's a program for creatives, and ever since the beginning of this year, I've just been in that program, and like I've met different creatives. I've learned more about photography. I've learned more about my interests in photography, and actually finding a style and brand and direction I want to take in the photography space. And I feel like since Remix, I feel like I've honestly become a better photographer, and I'm not afraid to try out different things more, since we also have this space to just try out different crazy stuff. And so yeah, that's just been my journey this past 2 years as a photography. Short journey. There's like a longer story, but you know what? I'll write a book in the future. If you guys are true fans, buy it. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, initially here I am. Now I literally have 4 cameras. I have the Sony 6500 that's recording this video. I have a film camera, a Minolta. I just literally got this 2 days ago. I started loving film, and we'll talk about that more as the channel goes on. Hopefully the channel goes on this summer. Well, summer's over. And last but not least, my main baby. This is what got me into the Sonyscape, the Sony A7 II. This baby is a workhorse. If anybody thinking about going to Sony, check out the A7 II. Cheap for its price at the moment, and does a lot of work. And also the A6300, A6500 series. Crazy cameras too. So yeah, that's been my story. Hopefully I get to talk about my thinking process in photography maybe in the next episode or whatever. But hopefully I get to do another video. Peace.